Revit is a BIM model. So in addition to being able to model with building elements and other families like planting, the I part of BIM, the information, is that you can actually add any information you want to any element inside Revit. So for example, if I pick something here, if I said, there's the Swiss cheese plant, if I pick on that and I say edit type, I can have any number of parameters that I want, and I can tell what the value is in here. So for example, if I looked at its maintenance is easy, I've got a botanical name, I've got a common name, but anything I want on this list, I can give it data. So fire zone, zones 1, 2, and 3 for fire resistant plant. I could assign a value to this. Time of year for flowering. What value does it have? Is it a good ground cover, a hedge? It'll all depend on the concept behind creating your planting palette, right? So any of these can be used in any of the palettes that you create. And you can see from here that what I've got in my custom template is firescape, interior plants, specifically to the city of Alameda, books like Butterflies of the Bay Area, Calflora, which is a fantastic nonprofit that will let you select the plants that are appropriate to your area, a lot with a ton of information about the properties of the plants. The one, I won't show them all. You can see from the list, I've got botanical gardens, I've got pollinator species, I've got habitat for ecosystems like prairie, I've got the original ArchVision content, I've got seed source from a nursery, I've got Douglas Tallamy's book, which is fantastic in pointing out the number of insects that are supported by, for example, an oak tree. And I've got ecological data provided from a company in Sacramento, WRA. But the one I want to show is that it's a huge deal for me to have Enscape, right? All of these, let me do this one, sorry, are three-dimensional linked representations of very convincing plant material. And any parameter that I've added to the Revit is also able to be applied to any of these assets. So for example, anything on this list, I can call out what its botanical name is, I can tell you what its provenance is, and so on and so forth. So the plus side of this is that I can use filters. If I look at the filters that are here, I can go look for things in my project. So for example, if I wanted to say that are palm trees, and I click on that, I'll just zoom out so you can see it here. So you see that what's going on here is it's actually identifying these as being, let's say, coconut palm. And it's this interaction between the data and the objects that is stupendous, right? So if I pick on that, what I'm doing down here is I can say edit type, and I can look at the plant type. Anything that I have put in before appears on a list. And so I can go down and pick from here. And my search criteria says look for any plant type that contains the word palm. So if you watch when I click on OK, that is now identified. Same for all of these. And you can manage that more efficiently inside schedules. So if I go down to schedules, for example, you could see that I've got all of the Enscape families here with, what is their botanical name, what is the plant type, herbaceous forbs, shrubs, and you can do complex searches to go and match search criteria. The one I really like would be this firescape zones. So I can have the botanical name, common name, festive perennial is what that is. Zone 1, so it's the closest area to a building. Zone 2 would be the next zone outside of that, and Zone 3 would be the last zone as you transition into wilderness again. But the data you can have lets you search for any criteria for it. That's the flowering time. So any data that you want. Actually, my pride and joy would be something like pollinators for the USA. So this kind of thing where the data is being tracked along with flower color and so on. I think you get the point. Anything you want to track that you can use to search and make a good selection. So you could depict on your plans the value of the plants. I'm back at the Firescape example. I go to filters. I can use any criteria that are here. So I could be saying something like, just let me select the plants that are zone 1. I don't have to manage this in my head or in a spreadsheet or whatever. I've got it to search through and find, what would be good for zone 1. If I wanted to, I could have a more complex filter. So for example, this one here, if I edit the filter, is that I'm saying it's also not to be addressing one issue, which is firescaping, and ignoring the other issue, which is biodiversity and having native plants. So if I say native plants in zone 1 for around the house and planting zone 9, USD 9, which would be the San Francisco Bay Area, or 10, which is also kind of coast. But just to show you, if I do that, it might go through and find that there's nothing that matches that. So I'm going to go through and nothing shows up. But I've got the ability now to go through quickly and sort this and say, well, let me edit that. What if I'm not going to be specific about the zone here? I just want to know that anything that's down as being natives and exotics. But I'm not concerned about that or this. I can just say, well, tell me what is on that list that matches both, and I can see them for zone 1. So it's kind of a show don't tell. I can actually have plans that represent the value of the plant because they're color coded, or the value of your design.